this is Annoo and welcome back to my channel. I think I am posting this in the new year, so happy new year to everybody. Let's cross our finger to a great 2021. It has to be better than last year, right? So today I am coming to you with a gorgeous other mosaic crochet tutorial. So you remember a few weeks ago I had shared with you my mosaic blanket tutorial and you guys loved it, and I'm so happy because I am so smitten by mosaic crochet that I wanted to share with you a new tutorial today, which is using the same mosaic technique crochet. So if you have done already the blanket, this one will be even easier for you because we're taking the same pattern. I will explain to you, of course, and taking you slowly but surely, one step at a time as usual. But today we are going to create this beautiful, gorgeous mosaic crochet cardigan. I love it so much. It is perfect for the winter and the fall, or even for those really chilly summer nights that we get sometimes. So it's super versatile. I will probably wear it with my jeans and boots. The mosaic crochet is so beautiful to me, and this pattern, I couldn't get enough of it. It is gorgeous. I will put all the information about the yarn, the colors in the info box down below, of course. I love the contrast between the beautiful, colorful kind of ombre color and the cream yarn, but of course you can do any color that you want. I would suggest having one contrasting color, so one colorful thing or darker and one really much lighter, because if not the mosaic crochet doesn't pop as much. That's why I like the cream color with this yarn so much. But oh, I can see so many variations that you can do, so you do you, and please don't hesitate to send me pictures of what you have created with any of my tutorials. By the way, just send me pictures on Instagram, tag me, hashtag Annoo Crochet, hashtag Annoo Crochet Design, send them to me on Facebook. You make my day whenever you send me something that you made with and that I inspired you to do. That makes my day. If you are not following me on my social media, here are the addresses, just if you want to come and visit. We are almost done merging my two channels, my knitting and my crochet. I have one more tutorial that I'm going to import from my knitting channel, and that is it. Then after that it will be all new knitting and crochet tutorials from 2021. Super excited about that. As usual, today one of you will be able to win the material to create this beautiful crochet mosaic cardigan. To participate, super easy. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and then comment in the comment box down below, and leave me please your email address so I can personally contact you, and only from annoocrochet@gmail.com. That is me. Been hacked on my Instagram channel, so let's try not to have that happen again. Brushing it aside, I will not let it take us down, so, but beware of hackers and con artists and all that. Just me, annoocrochet@gmail.com. That's my address right there. I will contact you. Leave me your email address in the comment box below, and I will contact you in the next few weeks to let you know that you won. So without further ado, if you are interested in creating this beautiful mosaic crochet cardigan, then keep on watching. In the meantime, happy crochet and happy new year. For this tutorial you will need 4 skeins of the James Brett Marble Chunky. It's machine washable. It's 200 grams per skein, and the color that I chose for this cardigan is color 2464. You will need 10 skeins of the yarn Berroco Vintage Chunky, and the color I chose was 6100, which is pearl white. Alright, for this beautiful tutorial you will need a 6mm crochet hook, and for the sleeves you will need 3 smaller sizes hooks, so 5.5mm, 5mm, and then 4mm. You will need some scissors, a tapestry needle, and you will also need a stitch marker. This cardigan is worked from the bottom up. We're going to first do the back and the 2 front panels, which at the beginning will basically be a big rectangle, and of course I'll show you exactly how to do it. And then we will take care of splitting the back and the 2 front panels and making the sleeves. Let's do it. So you're going to take your yarn, your cream yarn, the base color. You're going to make a slip knot and you're going to begin to chain. You're going to chain groups of 20. For this small medium sized cardigan, I had 120 chains. Once you have your 120 chains, you're going to add 2 chains. So 122 chains in total. Once I had my 120 chains, I just added 2 extra. Now for your first row, it's going to be a row of single crochet. You're going to single crochet in the first stitch from your hook, and you're going to single crochet all along. I am only taking the upper part of the chain, and I will meet you once you have your 122 single crochets. Here you go, we are at the end of the first row. Here you go, in the last stitch you can take both of the part of the chain and then chain 2. I will take my scissor and I will fasten off, leaving about a 4-inch tail, 4 to 5-inch tail. Mosaic crochet is worked like that, rows by row. So at the end of each row you fasten off, you go back to the beginning of your row, and then you take your secondary color. Beautiful, this beautiful marble chunky color. You're going to make a snip nip. You're going to make a slip knot, pass your crochet hook through the first stitch of your first row right there. For the first stitch, you're going to pass your crochet hook through both of the loops right there, and each and every one of the first and the last stitches of your rows will be worked through both of the loops of your stitch, and it's going to be a single crochet. So pass your crochet hook through both of the loops and pass it through your slip knot, pass your slip knot through your stitch, chain 1, and in that same stitch make a single crochet through both of the loops. All the rest of the single crochets will be in the back loop only. So for that second row, with your secondary color, make single crochet all along, but taking only the back loop of your stitch, and I will meet you at the end of your second row to show you what to do in the last stitch. Alright, so here you are at your last stitch, and you're going to single crochet in taking both of the loops. So the first and the last stitch throughout will be the same. You're going to single crochet but taking both loops together. So you have a starter stitch, single crochet, and an ending stitch that will be always single crochet through both loops. There we go, and then chain 2, fasten off, and that is the way you're going to end every row. So throughout your work, it is going to be one row of your base color and one row of your secondary color. Base color, secondary color, base color, secondary color. Okay? Okay, so take your base color and join in that first stitch at the beginning of your second row with a slip knot as usually. Chain 1 and then make a single crochet but through both of the loops. only in the first and the last single crochet of your row you go through both of the loops. Now we're going to begin our pattern. Alright, so this is the diagram we're going to follow. I will have the printable version on my blog. Here is the address to my blog. Don't hesitate to go and print it up. It will help a lot. But let me explain to you quickly how it works. Here you have a typical mosaic crochet diagram. You have the number of the row at the beginning. You have the color you use on the left right here, A being your cream one, and B being your color one, your second color, the one that in our tutorial is the strong colorful one. A is the cream, B is the colorful one. And then you always, of course, begin your row from the right side. So every row is began from the right side. And then that first little stitch there, that is the one that you do always through both of the loops. So it's your beginning stitch. And then right after that beginning stitch there, you really begin your pattern. So we are at the row 3 right now. So that means that you're going to use your cream color because it is color A right there. You see it on the left. And the way you read this chart too, you really ignore the color because the color is not the important thing in this diagram. The color just gives you an idea of what it should look like. What you should focus on when you look at a mosaic diagram is all the empty squares are single crochet in the back loop. And all the X's are the double crochet that you go and pick up, as I will show you in the row below. So plain squares are single crochet in the back loop. X's are the special double crochet that I will show you how to do. And I will try to keep the diagram on somewhere on the screen and help you follow up with the diagram as well. And eventually you will understand the way to work it, and we will not need the diagram anymore because it's very repetitive. You're going to make 2 single crochet in the back loop only. On the next one, you can see that there is an X in it. An X means that you're going to make a double crochet. It's not just a regular double crochet because you're going to go and skip 1 row and go 1 row below. So in our case, we're going back to row 1. So if you're working with your A cream, you're going to go to the row below that was that A cream color. You're going to count the same amount of stitches that you just made. So in our case, it's 2. And in the third one, remember the front loop that we had left, because we only worked in the back loop, is just sticking out. And that's where you're going to do your double crochet. So you're really hiding the colorful row by making double crochets to hide the stitches that are in the back. So it's a game of covering stitches or revealing them. It's really the essence of mosaic crochet, is creating double crochets to hide the color and create a pattern. Okay, so now you see you have 5 single crochets in back loop only coming. I want you to pay attention to behind the double crochet there is 1 stitch that is left alone in the colorful color because you covered it with the double crochet. So you leave that stitch behind your double crochet and you begin to count in the next stitch for your 5 single crochet in back loop only. As I say, ignore the color. We're working this row in our base A color. Once you have your 5 single crochets in back loop only, time for a double crochet again, and it's going to be the same. From the last double crochet, count 5 stitches. On the so you skip the colorful row and you go 1 row below, you count 5 stitches, and then in the 6th one, from row 1 up, you are going to make your double crochet in the front loop. Again, hiding the colorful stitches with your cream yarn. You have 1 stitch untouched that you leave like that behind the double crochet, and again in the next 5 stitches you're going to do single crochet in back loop only. All your single crochets except for the first and the last one of your row is always back loop only. Remember that. All right, so you do your 5 single crochets in back loop only, and we're going to repeat this pattern all along this third row, creating those rectangular little windows. So now again, you're going to go to row 1 and make your double crochet. You are right here, and you're going to go in the front loop of the stitch from row 1 right here. And this is what your work will look like. As I said, little windows, rectangles, and I will meet you at the end of your third row. And at the end of your third row, you're going to end the row as you always will end, with a single crochet through all of the loops. So here you go, you are here, you have 3 single crochet in the back loops, 1, 2, 3, and your last one will be through both of the loops and a single crochet, chain 2, and fasten off. And then for row 4, we're going to go back to the right to the beginning of the row, and this time we're going to use our colorful yarn. We are at row 4 right here. Going to take your colorful yarn, make a slip knot, and join at the beginning of row 4. So at the right at the right side, right there, in your first stitch. Join chain 1, make a single crochet through both of the loops, as you do for every beginning of every row. And we're going to begin to crochet with your colorful yarn. So as I said, the whole 4th row will be with your colorful yarn, and you are here. You're going to begin by making 3 single crochet in the back loop only. The last of the 3 will be on top of the double crochet you had made at row 3. What I try to do is incorporate the end yarn also as I single crochet, so I don't have to sew them in the back. That's why you're seeing me taking all the yarns together at the beginning. So the next stitch you see is an X. That means it's a double crochet. Since we are with our color B, or colorful one, you are going to go to the colorful row below. In this case right now it's row 2. We're going to make a double crochet in the front loop of that stitch from row 2. Here we go. And don't forget to leave the stitch behind the double crochet untouched. And then if you look at the diagram on row 4, now you have 3 single crochet in the back loop only. And now time for a double crochet in the front loop of row 2 again. And this is the pattern you're going to continue all along your 4th row. So 3 single crochet in the back loop, and then a double crochet in the front loop of the 2nd row. And I will meet you at the end of your row 4. This is what your work should look like, super pretty. And at the end of your 4th row, you will end with 3 single crochet, a double crochet in the 2nd row, in the front loop of the 2nd row. And then when you're done with your double crochet, you're going to, of course, single crochet through both loops to end your row. And now we are ready for row 5. Row 5 will be done with your cream color color A. So you go back to the right side of your work at the beginning of the row, you join with a slip knot, and your first stitch will be a single crochet made through both of the loops as usual. So here you are right there, and with your color A you're going to make a double crochet in the front loop of row 3. Here you go. Then you continue row 5 by making a single crochet in the back loop in the next 3 stitches. And next will be a double crochet in the 3rd row right there in the front loop. And then you're going to make 1 single crochet in the back loop in the next stitch. And then again a double crochet in the 3rd row. Don't forget to skip the stitches behind the double crochet. And then you're going to make 3 single crochet in the back loop. And again a double crochet in the front loop of row 3. A single crochet in the back loop of the next stitch, and a double crochet in the front loop of row 3. And this is going to be your pattern for the rest of your 5th row. So 3 single crochet in the back loop, and then double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, 3 single crochet in the back loop, double crochet, single crochet in the back loop, double crochet, all along that 5th row, and I will meet you at the end of your 5th row. At the end of your 5th row, you're going to end with a double crochet in the 3rd row, and then a single crochet, and then in the back loop only, and end your row with a single crochet through both of the loop as usual, chain 2 and fasten off, and you're done with row 5. And this is what your work will look like at the end of your row 5. It's so beautiful. Now you understand a little bit more how the chart looks like what you're doing. You can see how you're creating that pattern with the mosaic crochet. So beautiful. Row 6, you go back to the beginning of the row with color B, which is your colorful yarn, and you join the usual way with a slip knot, passing through both of the loops of the first stitch, chaining 1 and single crochet through both of the loops for this first single crochet. We are here at the chart. So you're going to begin your row with a single crochet in the back of the stitch, the first stitch, and then a double crochet, and this time you're going to go in the front loop of the 4th row. Then you're going to make a single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. And then a single crochet in the front loop of the 4th row right there. You get the gist of it. For your 6th row, it's going to be 3 single crochet in the back loop only, and then a double crochet in the front loop of the 4th row. And that is what you're going to do all along that 6th row. And I will meet you at the end of your 6th row. This is what your work will look like at the end of your 6th row, and you will end your 6th row with a double crochet and then 2 single crochets in back loop only as usual, and the last stitch single crochet through both of the loops. And for the 7th row, just take your cream yarn and make a slip knot and join as usual, making a single crochet through both of the loops for that first stitch. Then you're going to make a single crochet in the back loop of the next 2 stitches. And then a double crochet in the front loop of the 5th row. And now you're going to make a single crochet in the next 5 stitches in back loop only. Once you have 5 single crochets in the back loop, on the next stitch you're going to go to row 5 again, front loop, and make a double crochet. This is going to be the pattern for your 7th row. 5 single crochets in back loop and then a double crochet in the 6th stitch, but in the front loop of row 5. And as you see on your diagram, you will end a row 7 with a double crochet and then 3 single crochet in back loop only, and then your last stitch through both of the loops. So I will meet you at the beginning of row 8. And this is what your work will look like. You really are beginning to see the pattern, and I love it so much. All right, so time for a row 8, and we are taking our colorful yarn, color B, and we are going to join as usual in the first stitch, making a single crochet through both of the loops. And then you're going to make a single crochet in the back loop of the next 3 stitches. And then you are going to make a double crochet in the front loop of the 6th row. And again a single crochet in the back loop of the next 3 stitches, and that's going to be your pattern for row 8. And you are going to end row 8 with 3 single crochets in back loops, 1 double crochet in the 6th row front loop, and then your last single crochet through all the stitch. And I will meet you at the beginning of row 9. This is what your work will look like at the end of row 8, and you're going to continue following the diagram. You have it here, you have it on my blog, you have it at the beginning of my video as well. This is what the pattern will be like. You follow the diagram the way I showed it to you. This is row 9, and what we're doing is exactly the same we've been doing so far. Row 9 is with your base color A, the cream one. You follow the diagram as I showed you, and you're going to do this for about 77 rows in total. We are creating the back and the front of your cardigan at once. And then I thought the length was perfect. So continue in pattern. This is what your work will look like around row 77. You will get so familiar with the pattern, eventually you will not need the diagram anymore. Now you can really see well our new color as well. And now it is time to create the 2 front panels of your cardigan. At the same time, the opening for your sleeves and your back, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. So you are at row 78. You're going to join with your B color. And you're going to continue in pattern, but you're not going to continue in pattern over your 120 stitches. We're going to do a certain amount of stitches and then turn around. So the row is going to be way shorter, and it's going to be your left front panel actually that we're doing right now. So what you're going to do is work on pattern, regular pattern, but only making 28 stitches. And I will meet you once you have 28 stitches. Continue in pattern. Once you have 28 stitches, you're going to make a single crochet through both loops in the next stitch, chain 2 and fasten off. And those are the stitches we're going to work on for the next few rows. Those 28 stitches we're going to also decrease. I'll show you how, of course, but that's it. So now you're done with your 78th row, and for the 79th you're going to go to the beginning and you're going to continue in pattern, but working only on that front panel, the left front panel. Okay, so we are at row 79, and for row 79 you're going to join with your cream yarn, but we're going to decrease. So as I said, you take your cream yarn and you join right there at the beginning. And then you will begin your single crochet as usual, but you will decrease. I'll show you how. First stitch, you are going to pass your crochet hook through both of the stitches, yarn over and right back through the stitch. You're going to have 2 loops on your crochet hook, and you're going to go to the next stitch, pass your crochet hook through it, yarn over and back. You will have 3 loops on your crochet hook, and then yarn over and through all the loops on your hook. So that first stitch that you are, which is your beginning stitch that you go through both of the loops, took the first 2 stitches, so you decreased 1 stitch. And then you're just going to continue in pattern, respecting the pattern but with 1 less stitch at the beginning. And once you reach the last stitch, you are going to end by a single crochet through both of the loops in the last stitch and chaining 2 and slip stitch. So why do we want to decrease at the beginning of the row? We are creating that little shape of your collar. You want the shape to be a little bit like a V-neck, and that is the effect that the decrease will create. And now for the rest of your row 79, you will continue just in pattern as usually. You just decreased at the beginning, but you will not decrease at the end of your row. You will not decrease at the end of your row because that is going to be the opening for your shoulder for your sleeves. Row 80 will be a regular row without decrease, and then row 81 you will decrease the same way we did, so taking your crochet hook through both of the loops at the beginning and doing the same way, so decreasing from the 2 first stitches. So you're going to do that every odd row, every cream row, until you reach the end of row 89. At this time you will have 22 stitches left, and then you will fasten off. And this is what your work will look like. And what we're going to do is repeat exactly the same thing on the other side, working on the last 28 stitches right there. And you're going to decrease at the end of every odd row, not at the beginning, because you remember we want the side of your collar to be the decrease and the side that is going to be the sleeve opening to be straight. So we're going to repeat of what was it, row 78 to 89, and you're going to decrease every odd row, but in the last, turning the 2 last stitches into 1. And once you are done with your front panels, we are going to make the back. Now we're going to work on your back, and for your back what you're going to do is, with your work facing you, you're going to skip 4 stitches from that right panel right there, and you're going to join. You are back at row 78 for your back, and what you're going to do is work in pattern on all those stitches. So again, the same way, working the first stitch in both of the loops, etc., going row 78, 79, 80 until 89, but you're going to stop 4 stitches before the other front panel, and you're going to just do in pattern, not increasing, not decreasing, just straight doing your back from row 78 to row 89. Just for that row 78, once you have 4 stitches left at the end of this 78th row in between the front panel and your back, you're going to fasten off. There you go. So count for 1. This is your other panel, front panel, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that will be your last stitch, the one that you are going to single crochet in both loops. And here you go. And for row 79, you know what to do. 79 until 89, you do work in pattern. And I will meet you at the end of row 89. And this is what your work should look like. You see you have your back, you have your 2 front panels with the decrease on the side. All right, so you see all those little strings on the left. You're going to take a tapestry needle, and one by one you are going to sew them in. It's a little tedious, but there's no way around it with Mosaic Crochet. But the result is so beautiful that we forgive this tedious little step. Okay, so here you go. You have put all those little bits and yarns in. This is what your work will look like. Now it is time to sew in the shoulders, the upper part to the front panels to the back. With the wrong side of your work facing you, you're going to slip stitch through the shoulder part. So you're going to attach the front panel to the back. First one side, slip stitching stitch to stitch, 1 stitch at a time. This is what your seam will look like from the wrong side. And you're going to fasten off, and you're going to repeat for the other shoulder. This is what it looks like from the right side. Pretty nice and pretty neat. Repeat for the other front panel and back, to exactly the same. So this is what it will look like from the wrong side. Right there, you just joined this shoulder together, and then repeat it for the other side. Turn your work to the right side back facing you, and this is what your work will look like right now. Time to create the sleeves. All right, so you have openings like that. This is the seam of your shoulder. Now time to create the sleeve. I wanted my sleeve to be contrasting, so I wanted them to be the cream, but you can do it with the colorful color as well if you would rather. That is your choice. You do you, and you join at the bottom of your sleeve, and you're going to pick up single crochets all around the opening of your sleeve. So just first going up and then going down. Your sleeves will be crocheted in the round, and it's fairly easy to find where to pick up because you can just see the stitches right there. Those are the first stitches that you had single crochet through both of the loops. They're fairly easy to see. So for my sleeves, I picked up about 20 single crochets going up, 20 single crochets going down, going up all the way to the shoulder seam. And then 20 going down all the way the other side of the shoulder seam. Then you remember we had our 4 stitches we had left for untouched. I picked up single crochet in these 2, so in total I had 44 single crochets at the end of this first round of my sleeve. I just proceeded by single crocheting all around. I did about 3 rounds of single crochet. I put a stitch marker at the beginning of my round to know where it begins and ends, since we're crocheting in the round. And after 3 rounds, I switched to a smaller crochet hook. And that's how I'm going to shape my sleeve. I'm not going to decrease, because I don't like the look of decreases sometimes on crochet, and the technique I use is just switching slowly to smaller crochet hooks, and that way it's gently being a little narrower. So here we're using a 5.5mm crochet hook. We're doing a few rounds, and once we have about 13 rounds, this time I am switching to a 5mm crochet hook, and then when I reach about the 30th round, I switched to a 4.5mm crochet hook. I did about 10 rows with this size crochet hook. And finally, we switch to a 4mm crochet hook. And this is what we're going to use until the end of our sleeve. I had about 55 rounds for my sleeve, but you, of course, try your cardigan on, and depending on the length of your sleeve, this is what the number of rows of rounds you will have. And then you fasten off, you sew in the loose tail, and you repeat exactly the same for the other sleeve. All right, so now it's time for the border, and it's the same kind of border. It's a double border that we had created for our mosaic blanket, but I will show you again how to do it. With the cream yarn, or whatever color you decide your border to be, you're going to make a slip knot, and you're going to join at the bottom of the panel, the left panel, with the right side of your work facing you. And what we're going to proceed by doing is making a slip stitch in each and every stitch. We're coming from the side, of course, but it's fairly easy to see where to slip stitch. You're going to slip stitch in each and every row, and it is the stitch where we had single crochet in both loops at the same time. So it's really obvious, and you're going to loosely slip stitch in each and every one of those stitches going up the side of your front panel. You're going to continue once you reach the collar, and going down the other side of your other front panel. So up, around the collar, and down. And I will meet you once you have your first slip stitch row, and for that will be the front part of your border here, and the back part of the border will be created on the wrong side of your panel using the back of those slip stitches, but I'll show you that when we get there. Right now you're going up and down and around the collar, making slip stitches everywhere, loosely. If you had done my mosaic blanket, it's exactly the same technique for the double border. Here you are slip stitching the collar, the stitches that are from the collar, and then slip stitching down the other side of the front panel. Fasten off at the end of your first slip stitch row, and then you're going to place your work wrong side facing you, and you're going to work on the back of those slip stitches. So at the bottom of the corner, the front panel, you're going to join, and in the back of those slip stitches that you can see them in white, you're going to first chain 3, and then in each and every one of them you're going to make a double crochet, and make sure you have 1 double crochet per row, per little back of your slip stitch right there. Sometimes it's a little tricky. That is actually the trickiest part of this double-sided beautiful border. Once you're done with this row, picking up the back of the slip stitch, the rest is easier. And you're going to go up again, the side panel, behind the collar, and down the other side panel. The front of your work, you clearly see the slip stitch. We're working in the back of those slip stitches right now. Here I just wanted to show you when you reach the back of the collar, it's a little harder to see which part is the back of your slip stitch because it's white on white. But here you go, those are the back of your slip stitch. Here you go, and you double crochet in it. And once you reach the other side of the panel, it's more obvious again. Alright, so you are done with your first row of a double crochet. You reach the bottom of the other side panel. Right there, you do your last double crochet in the last stitch, then you chain 3, turn around, and make a second row of double crochet. So a double crochet on top of each of the double crochet from the previous row, and you're going to do that for 3 rows in total. We are at the end of our third row right there. You're going to take your scissors and fasten off. So we're done with the back part of your border. You can make it wider, of course. I just decided to make 3 rows of double crochet. Now you're going to have the front part of your work facing you, and you're going to join in the slip stitch we had made, but only in the back loop of that stitch. So you can see how you have a V stitch right there, which is the slip stitch that we had made at the first row of our border. You're going to take your yarn and you're going to join. But as I said, in the back loop only of the slip stitch, and you're going to chain 3. And then in every back loop of the slip stitch, you're going to make a double crochet. And you're going to go again up the front panel, behind the collar, down the other side of the panel. Once you're done with your first row of double crochet, you're going to make 2 more rows of double crochets on top of those. So you end up with 3 rows of double crochet on both sides. And now we're going to assemble them together. So you're going to single crochet, stitch to stitch in each and every one of the stitches that you create. So the 2 panels of the border of double crochets are going to get assembled together to create that really nice sandwich kind of 2-side border, which will be super pretty from both sides. Because you know, when you have a cardigan and you have an opening, a lot of time when you move, you see the inside and the outside of your border, and that way it will be neat and pretty from both sides. And voila, so you just match stitch to stitch, single crocheting through both sides of your border. Up again the front panel, behind the collar, and down the front panel, and I will meet you at the end of this assembly row. So you are done with this row, you are done. You're going to fasten off, and you are going to sew in all the loose tails, and just like that you created this beautiful mosaic crochet super gorgeous cardigan. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial as much as I have enjoyed creating it for you. I'm looking forward to many more. Other sizes as usual will be in a few days in my blog. I will put the blog address in the info box down below, and I will see you next time for another tutorial. In the meantime, happy crochet, love you, bye. Ooh. What do you think? Okay, yes. Come closer. Yes, this works. My camera stopped working. Let's do this again. But I can also wear it with yeah, whatever you. Yeah. What else can I tell you? I don't even want to talk about it.